And we are live. Welcome from Nick Lakhani, and I am VP of Tech at Groove Asia. And one of the things that we like to do is to do regular Groove Asia Leaders Unite sessions. And one of the things about this is that over the last 20 weeks, today's week 20, I've been running a weekly session on courses and communities. The biggest idea about this when I started was I actually set out the 20 topics that I wanted to talk about. It's in the spreadsheet, it's all planned out. And beyond that, there's nothing. Well, no, there's not nothing. This is the point. I wanted to use the first 20 sessions to be as a bedrock, as a platform. And one of the things about this is I just didn't want to go on at the same level because I think now, after the first 20, we have the ability to go deeper into certain topics as and when required to go and really dig into the topic, maybe do some other activities around it. And one of the other things that I'll be looking at is looking at doing some workshops as well through Groove Asia. And there's a lot of things going on. And I'm so excited about that. I really am. And so this is not the end of the GLU. This is the end of the beginning for me in my GLU career with Groove Asia. All right. Now, therefore, so having said that, I just want to actually share with you what we're going to talk about today. And this is quite interesting. One of the things that what I want to do today is to talk to you about the idea that you need to plan, prepare, and profit from exit or from your business. And it's about exit strategy, okay? And in this way, I want to make sure that when you actually create your courses, you actually have an idea of where you're going with this. Now, before we get into the topic, let's just talk about why you should care about online courses. And I've been saying this every week for the last 19 weeks, and then today is the 20th time. Looking at the global market for online courses, it is exploding. And within the next 6 years, it's estimated to be something in the region of 850 billion US dollars. Would you like to have just a very teeny weeny part of that pie? Would you like that? Put it into the chat. Put hashtag live, put hashtag replay, and then tell me, do you want some of that pie? Say pie yes or pie no. It's okay. No problem. But just put that in there for me. One of the things that important to remember is, yes, it's a projection. But then if I'd said to you 10 years ago, it was nowhere near this number. It was nowhere near 200 billion. Okay, so it was very much less than that. So just think about what could happen in the next 2 years or 5 years or 6 years in this case. Now, why is it that I'm saying to you that you should be interested as well? Is, well, what is your why? Why are you going to do it? For me, it's very simple. It's financial freedom. Having the ability to be working wherever I want in the world, when I want to, with whom I want to. That's what it is. That's what it's about for me. What about you? Is it to maybe pay for some hospital bills, do some extra courses to maybe put your kids through college, put the grandkids through college even, add a little bit extra to make you comfortable in retirement, or be able to retire early and follow your passion for painting beaches in Southeast Asia or in South America? That would be nice. So tell me what your passion is. Put it into the chat. For me, it's about working on the beach, actually swimming in the sea, and then coming out, going to the shade, being cool, and being able to work for 3 or 4 hours a day, and then going back for a dip in the warm sea. That's what I want to do. Okay, let's get into this. Now, today, as I said, I've got major talking points, really. The first one is about knowing that you should have an exit strategy as soon as possible, today. Next one is the different types of exit strategies available. And throughout the course of today, I'm going to talk about maybe different sizes of businesses as well. The third point is about preparing your business for sale or succession to maximize the value that you get from it. And in order to maximize something, you need to know what it is to start off with, right? And then fourthly, it's about navigating the negotiations, the legal considerations on it as well. Okay, so lots of things to add on there. Therefore, let's look at the first point: the importance of having an exit strategy early on. Let me give you an example of a solopreneur. Imagine you're a coach or a trainer or a consultant, and I've been a freelancer. I've been running my own business. I've been, working for a living. But ever since, I don't know, for maybe 30 years, maybe a bit less than that. If I don't work, I don't get paid. If I work, I get paid. It's being a freelancer, right? Now, you as somebody who provides services, a coach, a consultant, a trainer, or another solopreneur, you can go into that as quite simply, you get a customer, you fulfill your contract with them, and you're done, and then you go on to the next one and the next one. Maybe you could be a plumber, you could be an electrician. But I want you to think about this. If you're an electrician or a plumber, you need to have a van or a truck. You need to have equipment. You need to have training. You need to have certifications and health and safety considerations, and any staff working with you must be qualified. A lot of the time, when you're a coach or a consultant or a trainer, you forget about all this other stuff. You forget about the fact that you maintain and update your skills regularly in your own time. You forget about the investment that you make. And so when you actually go and sell your services, you will have a different model for charging than the plumber or electrician. The plumber or electrician, what do? They work out all the costs involved, all the fixed costs and the variable costs in terms of their infrastructure, their offices, their trucks, the hiring, the training, the certifications, the tools that they have to purchase, the breakages, the replacement of parts, all sorts of things. And then divide that into not the number of hours that you can work in a week. Imagine they've got they think they're going to be busy half of the time, meaning 50% of utilization of any given working week. So they won't actually count up the number of hours as 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks in a year. They'll be doing 4 hours a day, 5 times a week, which is 20 hours, times 50 weeks in a year, which is 1,000 hours. So if they've got a cost of $20,000, divide that by 1,000. So they could be charging $20 an hour to go and pay for it. Well, in effect, the figures are wrong because the costs are going to be much higher than that. You get the idea. What a lot of coaches and consultants do, they have a rate, and they're always afraid of increasing the rate. But they don't take into account the ongoing education that they give and so on. But also, this is the point, that as a freelancer or somebody who gets paid by the hour, you're not looking at the value that you're giving. And as soon as you start thinking about the value that you give to the person, the problems that you solve for the person, and also take into account the skills, knowledge, and experience that you have, and this goes for any business now, look at the outcome that you give and then charge accordingly. And when you do that, you have the ability to see further than a lot of your competitors. You will be more expensive than a lot of your competitors, but you'll also be able to look after your employees, you'll be able to look after yourselves, you'll be able to feed yourself, you'll be able to put away money into your pension, you'll be able to get the latest equipment or the latest training, and you'll run your business properly in a proper three-dimensional business, not just a freelancer exchanging time for money. But most importantly, you will be more likely to be aware that you need an exit strategy, and that you should actually have that. If you've not got it already, you should then start today. Okay? You should start today, because you yourself as a business want to be able to go and exit. Now, okay, it doesn't matter about how long you've been working, how long you've been in business. It doesn't matter, how much you love your business. I'm here to give you one cold, hard truth. Okay, so don't get triggered. You will exit your business. Let me repeat that. You will exit your business. Now, the things that you can change, that you cannot change. The thing that you can change is how you exit your business. Is it through lack of customers, through COVID, through some sort of issues with the products and services that you're providing, some sort of challenges, you're driven out of business through price or other means, whatever it is. That's one way to exit your business, isn't it? Another way is to just close up your office, your shop, your place of work, and just walk away. That's another way to do it. And in those two situations, you do not get any kind of benefit from walking away. The third way, which is the way I'm actually asking you to look at it, is to plan, prepare, and then take a profit from your business by selling it, by having an exit strategy. Great way to look at it. I mean, look, if you haven't thought about it, no problem. But just take a little time, listen to what I have to say. Put questions into the chat in terms of what we have over here. Karen's in the chat over there. That's great. Now, one of the things that I want you to think about is, for a solopreneur, the way to build a business is not to act as a freelancer throughout, but then start building business, building the systems, building the processes. Obviously, you're getting some sort of income to pay for this. You're reinvesting into your business. For every dollar that you earn, you're not putting a dollar into your pocket. Well, obviously, the IRS has something to say about that, right? Or your tax authorities, whichever country you're in. And one of the things that you can do is to reinvest into your business. Now, it's tax efficient, but it also helps with the longevity of your business, the overall likelihood of success for your business as time goes on. And one of the ways in which to think about that is this idea that you're not just exchanging time for money, you're providing solutions. Therefore, a plumber comes along, you have an emergency. What is the plumber selling? The plumber's not selling time. The plumber is selling a solution to stop the water leaking out of your bathroom, to stop the water leaking all over your nice, fabulous carpets that you have upstairs in your house, and then seeping through the floor into the kitchen down below, which then gets damaged because of the water, right? You're looking for solutions. And these professionals, whether you're a plumber, an electrician, or you're a coach or a trainer, you're providing solutions. And one thing that I always did in my career as a professional trainer and a consultant and a technical director, I always provided a solution. You have a solution cell. You have wraparound services. You have wraparound with things like a help desk, a call desk, somebody to call, somebody to email if you need help, if you've got any questions, a telephone number they can call. And also, for example, a guarantee to your work. If you're an electrician, plumber, even coaches sometimes have guarantees as well. Yeah. One of the things that I did as a trainer was to say, okay, let's start at the class. Which of these 10 things do you know how to use? And give me a scale of, one to five on how well you can use them. And then give the same questionnaire at the end. And so people can see that, oh, I have learned something, right? And that value that you get at the end of the job, they take away, and whatever the bill is for that, they're okay with it if you can show value. And that's why the solution sell is better. And that's why overall for your business, that kind of approach is better, but also for exit strategy. Why? Because you're more on it. You're looking at things. You're looking at things from a high level. You're not afraid to go and jump in and get your hands dirty, but you're not just working in the business. You're working on your business. You're developing it. You're a proper business person. Okay? Now, thinking about the exit strategy, one example could be that once you create all these systems around it, once you have a CRM, a customer relationship management database, basically it's a list of people that have either inquired about your services, that you've been referred to, or you've approached, or they've actually come to you and are your customers. And now maybe your ex-customers. So there's a list of people and you've got information about them. You've got their name, their email address, maybe their mobile number, maybe their home or work telephone number, maybe that you've got their address. You have lots of information about it. You also have the information about what you've sold them. And maybe if you're doing some email marketing, you have a list of all the email newsletters that have gone to them. Maybe they're on an email sequence that you're created. Maybe you've given away free reports that they've actually gone and signed up for and have downloaded, right, as a lead magnet. Right? So there's a number of different ways. Once you start setting up your systems, you start with your CRM. Once you start with the other aspects, once you start creating relationships with other people, doing joint ventures and so on, making a name for yourself, making yourself stand out, making yourself an authority in your field. You have a name, you have a brand. And that name, but more importantly, the brand and all that comes with it, all the systems and processes in place, all the sales marketing techniques, all of the logistical benefits of the systems in place, the after-sales support, the online training or the offline training that you have, all of that becomes valuable to somebody else who wants to grow their business and has the means by which to buy you out when you are ready. So just think about this. It doesn't, you're not just exchanging time for money. That's very important, because as soon as you come out of that mindset, you start thinking like even if it's just you, a small business owner, a solopreneur, you're still running your business. So you have to work on your business. And yeah, you're still working in your business, but spend more time working on your business and then scale up. We've talked about a lot of these things over the last 20 weeks, right? About the idea that you start off learning the things that you need to do. You need to know about marketing. You need to know technology. You need to know all of these things to create online courses. And in terms of creating the online courses, what you're doing is you're showing your authority. And at some stage, you're starting to build your community. And that, my friends, is valuable to you, and also it's valuable to other people who may be looking for something. For example, you may be working in a niche where there's somebody else who's working in different niches or a bigger company, but they don't necessarily have your niche in their portfolio and they're looking to expand. And then you're perfect to be, you're ripe for the picking. Yeah. You can actually go and market yourself that way. So even if you're a solopreneur, and there's nothing wrong with that, there's plenty, that's where things are going. The number of solopreneurs is increasing all the time. You have the ability to go and create a business that you can then sell and walk away from once you've sold. Now, in terms of types of, I've just described one example of an exit strategy, right? So let me show you another one. And so we're looking at different types of exit strategies for different business models. So let's take an example of an e-commerce entrepreneur. And in this case, an e-commerce entrepreneur could be somebody who started off with drop shipping. Now, what that means is that you don't, if I'm a drop shipper, I don't create the product. What I do is I find a supplier who has some cool products that I think would go nicely in people's living rooms or in their kit, in their car or in their living room, and then I sell it to people, and they buy it through me. But this supplier sends it to them directly. Okay. There's a number of different ways in which you can make income like this. And in e-commerce, yes, a lot of it is to do with volume, but also the product or the service, or most likely it's a product, has to be right. Yes? The quality has to be there. Nobody's going to pay $27 or $57 or $97 for something that breaks within a week. You're going to have all sorts of issues. So you've got to find the right supplier. You've got to have a great relationship with them. Maybe you put your own brand on those yoga mats, or the mugs, or the vase for the living room. And what you can do is to make sure you have that relationship, and you trust them, they trust you, and they've never let you down, and they're never going to let the end customer down. And you can go and have a brilliant relationship and sell all of these items and build a name for yourself and be able to show the sales that you've made. And what you're doing there is, and a lot of the time, these e-commerce entrepreneurs, they focus on particular niches. And you can actually make a very good name for yourself in particular niches, because people will always see you around. People will always see your products. People will see that you've got a range. People will see all the wonderful testimonials you have on your website. There's a number of things that you can actually do to actually show that authority that you have, show the clout that you have in your niche. And this is valuable to somebody who wants to break into this niche that you're a master of, that you're at the top of, and they're willing to pay for it. Now, they could do exactly what you've done, but they don't want to have to do it all again from scratch. They would rather pay you for a running business to be able to hand it over and you walk away. That's fair enough, right? So that's a different example. All right. So in this case, you've got a database of customers, you've got a relationship with suppliers, you've got a track record with brilliant testimonials, you've got all of those things. And don't forget that when you're in that sort of industry, you've got a chance of getting a lot more reviews, a lot more testimonials very quickly. And so, for example, if I'm buying an item, and I'm buying a piece of electronics, and if I see a product A on one site and the same product on another site, now who am I going to trust? Well, it's the same product. Well, is it though? Maybe slightly different, but then it comes. But imagine it is the same product. I may actually go with the supplier who has most reviews, who is 4-star, 4.5, 4.8, 4.9 out of 5, compared to somebody who's got 7 reviews and is at 3.5. Right? So it's human nature to say, oh yeah, I think I'll be safer with this one over here. And your customers are seeing the value. So make sure you do as well. Okay, so that's one example of e-commerce type of business. I also have another example at the which I'll give at the end, actually, a little bit more personal example. Now, in terms of the third talking point that I've got today is about preparing your business for sale, or succession. I mean, in this case, it's a family business, right? So let's talk about family business, but also getting to know the numbers. All right. In a family business, often you get a situation whereby it's not just you're the boss. You could be a managing partner or a the majority partner. You may hold the majority shareholding, and that you've got other partners that may or may not work in your business. So it's complicated, right? Now, in order to have a partnership like that, it's very important for you to be on track with your figures, your numbers, right? Therefore, because you have to be transparent. Therefore, whether you're a solopreneur or somebody who is employing 1,000 people, my suggestion is get to know your numbers very, very well. And the reason I say that is get help from your accountant. Your accountant is not there at the back end, like a year, 3 months after you finish your financial year. Your accountant should be there helping you. And, in my case, I've got a great accountant. They give advice on how to go and help you grow your business, how to manage it, how to scale up. Good accountants are experts in business growth, because they've seen a lot of things, dealt with a lot of customers, bigger than you, like the same sort of size as you want to get to, and they'll see how they work, and they can advise you better as well. All right. And the reason why getting to know your numbers is important is that, again, this is another way in which you wake up and say, what's my exit strategy? And the exit strategy is over here. Right, I want to be able to sell the company for $10 million, and these are the terms, these are the other things that I'm looking for. Okay, so is that going to come about one day? Is it going to be New Year, January 1st, 2028, 2027, 2029? Somebody's going to come up and say, hey, I've got a check for you for $10 million. Who do I make it out to? And that's it? No, it doesn't really work like that, right? Because if you actually have in your numbers, your assets and liabilities, you know how many customers you have, you know how much it costs you to gain a customer, you know how long they actually stay with you on average, right? You know that, for example, if you create that community, if you create engagement, you create an environment whereby they want to stick around, that they'll stick around for longer. And guess what? They'll spend more money with you because they know you, like you, trust you. All of those things, if you know your figures, they'll just keep stacking up and stacking up. And invariably, you'll be making better decisions, not just for running the business, but also thinking about the end goal and then working backwards as to what are the milestones you need to hit and by when. Yeah? If you know where you're going, and if you know where your plan is, or if you know what your plan is, set your goals and then have milestones coming back to today. Targets that you have to meet by a certain time, things, processes that need to be in place for you to be able to achieve and leverage growth. One of the examples that I can give you is someone in my family, a lawyer in England, and what he did was he had a practice and he built it up just like the things that I've talked about. They scaled it up. They took on lawyers. They had systems in place. I helped to put their IT systems in to make them more efficient. Back in the day, this is before a lot of the lawyers were computerized. Okay, and he was able to go and scale it up. and he got fortunate with a couple of big cases that he was able to go and, off the back of those, leverage growth, took on more people, and to look as not only were they good, people saw how good they were. They were authorities in that particular field, and hence was approached. And after rebuffing two or three offers, then probably a year and a half later, got an offer he couldn't refuse, in a good way, not the Godfather type, and sold the business, went through the processes. But because they had a database of clients, because they had a great relationship with the courts, with the other legal people in the community, they had a great relationship. They had contracts with local authorities to provide services, and that's key as well. So all of those things, wrap it all up. They had a great brand. They sold the business. Now, he couldn't then go and work, and I'm going to say this in point 4 as well. He couldn't go and open up a new firm for a period of time. Then, when that time was over, he then opened up a new firm in a different area, and then he set up again and was fortunate enough, because of his own personal reputation, to go and bid for and win contracts with local authorities in other areas of the southeast of London, of England. And again, within a short space of time, went and sold the business. I think 3 times he sold his business. Everything above board, everything legal, obviously lawyer. He learned how to create that brand, make it look attractive, make money, and be working in it. But this time, instead of hiring 10, 15 lawyers like he did previously, because of his name, because of the brand, because of the contracts that he held, made him more attractive to other lawyers, other law firms, who then said, right, we need to expand quickly. This is the best way to do it. Put an offer on the table, accepted, and completed. All right. So that, knowing the numbers, knowing the assets and the liabilities and the value of what you have, if you can actually understand your value, then you've got a chance to realize it. Meaning to then, at the end of the day, turn it into a profit on exiting the business. If you don't know what your worth is, if you don't know what your value is, or you don't work on creating value and increasing the value, then there's very little value that anybody's going to give. Nobody's going to make you an offer. You're going to have to go, close up the office, hand the keys back to the landlord, and get off and retire to your garden. Now, the way I'm saying it is, go, have a go at it, build up the value, maximize it, and be able to walk out. And instead of actually going to go and retire in your garden, you could retire onto a beach in Malaysia, or in Thailand, or in Australia, or in Brazil. That would be nice, wouldn't it? That's the difference. Okay. So know your numbers. It's very important. Now, I mentioned a minute ago about this idea of the fourth talking point I've got is negotiations and legal considerations during an exit. And one example on here is the service-based startup. Okay, so let's just talk about that. Service-based startup. So this is my wheelhouse, really. For example, imagine I had a tech firm and we created services online. And it's actually called SaaS, as in SaaS, service, software as a service. All right. So, in fact, a lot of the things that you look at nowadays, the fact that we're streaming on software, which is SaaS, software as a service. So, the customers, they pay a monthly fee, or they get a discount if they pay annually, and they consume your service. And your job is to make sure that you run a great service, keep it up without very much downtime at all. Develop the services, offer new features and benefits, keep up with industry standards, make sure that people don't have issues, and you help them deal with it. Deal with anybody you need to in terms of internet providers and other people in the industry. Learn techniques on how to deliver your services more efficiently, and therefore to push down the costs and increase your profits. Things like that. There's all sorts of things that you need to know. Ultimately, you have to provide great service, and you then can grow your business. Imagine that you have terms and conditions with your customers. If they don't pay on a particular month, you have the right to cut off their service. Send them a nice email saying, "Hey, you're overdue. Please, update your account." In the meantime, and you could do it straight away. In the meantime, we've just had to put a hold on your account, and it is what it is. And they get up to date, and then automatically your systems are in place to then give them access to their account. Brilliant, works. But you have contracts with your clients, your customers. You also have contracts with your suppliers, and there's a lot of legal work in there, especially with software and especially with the internet as well. When you actually go and sell a business, and somebody comes in and says, "Hey, we want to buy your business," it doesn't happen in a week or two. It could take months. It could take a year. And there's a lot of legal, I'm not going to say loopholes. There's a lot of legal jargon that you have to learn and understand. There's a lot of legal steps and ways in which you have to move, things that you can do, cannot do, when you're actually dealing with this sort of purchase. And also, the terms of the buyout is very important. So, for example, the service-based startup, the person, if I'm the CEO, they could actually make me an offer. And once we go through all of the things and all of the negotiations and say, right, here's the offer on the table, here's a number. Now, that doesn't mean they write you a check on the first day and say, yeah, we agreed on the first of the month, we are going to take over the business, and here's a check for you that you can walk away with. More likely, they may want you to stay on. And in fact, I've had experience of this where we sold our business, we grew it nicely to a very, very good level. And we as directors were kept on the understanding that we will work there as employees. Also, the fact that my partner, the CEO, ultimately he owned the majority share of the business, and he had family who had other shares. But ultimately, what the deal that was done and the deal that was common at that time, and I believe it's not changed much these days, is we would like you to stay in the business for 3 years because we don't want to see a drop off, because you've done a great job creating this wonderful, golden goose that's laying golden eggs. That's what we were called. We want you to carry on and keep the value of the business to a certain level. Now, on that basis, there's the figure there. We're going to give you 70% upfront, meaning on day one. Then the next 10% will come in a year's time, as long as you hit certain profit figures, a certain other criteria. And then the next 10% will come at the end of the second year, and then the last 10% at the end of the third year, right? You get the idea. They do that because they're protecting their investment. They're not necessarily going to be experts in your business. What they want to do is to have those 3 years to come in, look at the systems, and then start implementing the ways that they work without hopefully killing the goose. And so they can then subsume the business into their own because they're a larger entity, and then start being even more profitable as they go along. because they have much bigger, much higher economies of scale. And this particularly happened. We were a 30 million turnover, 30 million pounds turnover business. They were heading towards a billion US dollar business, right? A billion. And that's just in Europe. They were a worldwide organization. Just in Europe, they were heading to a billion. And so they were so much bigger. However, they had the 3 year, it was called an earnout, 3 year. But if the sales levels or the profit levels or other metrics were not hitting the right mark, that 10% each year could have diminished to even zero. Therefore, the owner is motivated to go keep making money, to keep making the profits, to keep working hard, as well as at the same time overseeing the transfer of systems and other things in the business. Now, the reason I say that it's important is that when you get to a certain level, you've got to make sure that you appreciate the legal ramifications, the legal, the accounting that goes on. I mean, for example, we were working 70 plus hours a week. My partner, my friend was working 80 plus hours a week, 85 hours a week. And we had extra work on for a period of probably 2 or 3 months while we were audited through the due diligence process by the buyers. So we had to provide information on absolutely everything to do with the business, the location, the employees' contracts, the employees' records, the leases for the office, the any equipment that we had, any other assets or liabilities that were in the business. The accountant was busy, and we're paying a lot of money, extra work for them, and all sorts of things. It's not a simple process, but here's what I want to assure you. If you reach whatever level you reach in terms of your ability to run your business, you will, in yourself, be not only knowledgeable but savvy in terms of the business side of things, and you will develop that. Just make sure you keep an eye on the numbers, and make sure you get the advice of accountants and lawyers, and get them to explain things in English to you, if so to help your understanding. Ultimately, you're the CEO. You make decisions. That way, if you follow advice, if you look at this, but then you make a decision as to, right, it's the right time to go because this is part of my strategy. 2030, I want to be on a beach. Okay, then go create the plan today. I implore you, I encourage you, I would like to motivate you. More than that, I dare you to go create your plan. Because if you do that, then chances are your business will be even more successful while you're running it, because you've created an exit strategy. Okay? As I said, I've got experience of this. It's tough. And also, it was a business I didn't want to leave. And in the end, it is what it is. But and I've talked about that before as well. The fact that we created culture-led growth, we went and invested in people who are going to help our business, and created an environment where they excelled. But with anything, take your emotions out of it. Think about what the end goal is. Create an exit strategy, and make sure that you work hard with what you're doing. I'll give you an example, right? Before I go. About 2 years, 2 years or 3 years before the actual sale, the level of reliance that we had on one vendor, which is Symantec, was huge. It was too much. And our accountants warned us. We could see it. It's a big deal. So I think it was something in the region of 81% of our income was coming from one supplier, and that one supplier could, at any point, strike us off the contract for cause, or not renew it every 2 years or whatever the timescale was. And what we did was we had a concerted effort during a triple dip recession. We grew our business. I personally went and increased made my business stronger in getting consulting days and made more money and more profit, even in a triple dip recession, because we worked harder and smarter. And one of the ways in which we did that was to, in terms of the software sales that we were looking at, we not only increased the semantic element of it in pure numbers, but that percentage wasn't 81%. It came down because we focused on other areas to go and increase income elsewhere, that we weren't as reliant on semantics. So therefore, the 81% dropped to more like 72, 73%. And as it happened, because we were hardworking, we were ahead of the game, we did all of this, we actually went and got even more business from Symantec and took over another part of their business in UK and Ireland, because we were focused on the things, making sure that we ran our business and we had our exit strategy and we were working towards it, that it actually helped our business run better whilst we were in it. So having an exit strategy, having this idea that, yes, I want to retire on a beach in Port Dickson in Malaysia, I want to retire on a beach in Bondi Beach in Australia. Absolutely dream it, have the vision, write it down, and then work out the plan of how you are going to get there, step by step, and then keep yourself accountable and monitor it. With that exit strategy, you can go and do it. Okay? Now, let's have a look and see what the topics that we've covered already. The idea that you should have an exit strategy. Even before starting your business, you should have it. Otherwise, what's the plan? Remember, you will exit your business. I guarantee it. The types of exit strategies available, depending on what type of business you are, we discussed that. The idea that you're preparing your business for sale, know your numbers, right? And also look at the negotiations and legal considerations during the exit. Okay? So those are the things we've covered. And what I want you to do is to make sure you have a look at Groove Asia CM/event and what that is. Let me show you one particular page on here that we're going to look at, and if I can find it. Right, so I'm going to go to the events page, and what I want you to do is take a look at this. So, for example, in the next few days, we've got Peter and Karen doing their GLUs. We've got Tyra doing the Power Hour, and also we've got the 5-day challenges running this week as well on GrooveMail. So take a look at those, and you can actually have a look at that. Click on one of these items, and there's a link in there to register for them. Next week, Peter is doing a fantastic workshop with the e-commerce, like there. There's a link for it. Have a look at it. Have a go at it. It's absolutely free for you to attend. You will come away knowing how to start your own e-commerce store. Peter is the session is fabulous. I encourage you to attend, and you will actually very much benefit from that. All right. Now, it leaves me now to go at the end of the 20th week. That this series of 20 is now complete, as I mentioned before. And what I want you to do is keep another lookout for the next sessions that I'll be running, and also have a look at the other sessions that people are running as well in the community. Karen, Peter, Ching Yu Tan, Simon, JJ, John, etc., etc. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. And I'm going to ask Karen. Thanks very much, Karen, for being program director today. Karen, please take it away and see us out. Thank you very much. Good night.
Hi, this is Simon Liang with GrooveAsia.cm. Are you already a part of the #1 community in the world? If not, do so right now for free training and support, along with live sessions to help you succeed. Start now by joining us in our private Facebook group and get more exclusive video content on our YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe with notifications turned on for all updates. Join our community right now. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you on the inside at GrooveAsia.cm.